Silvio Berlusconi, also known as Playboy Berlusconi, is what some people would refer to as the enemy of every woman. Being the Prime Minister of Italy and a billionaire, Silvio stated that his love for work, women, and play would never change. As you would expect, he wasn't limited to just one woman. However, there is something more to Silvio's Playboy life than what everyone sees on the surface, and this might just cost him everything. Stay tuned for more information on the life of this Italian Playboy. With a lot of money comes the occasionally uncontrollable urge to spend it, sometimes in the most frivolous and wasteful way possible. The same could be said for the Italian playboy, Silvio Berlusconi, and he had a lifestyle that you wouldn't expect from a country's prime minister. There's no doubt that Silvio is very wealthy, especially since he served as the Prime Minister of Italy under 4 governments, from 1994 to 1995, 2001 to 2006, and 2008 to 2011, amongst a host of other government positions. Apart from that, he is also a controlling shareholder of Mediaset, the largest mass media company in Italy, and owned the Italian soccer club AC Milan from 1986 to 2017. These merits got him the nickname El Cavalier, meaning the Knight, for his orders of merit for labor. His various endeavors made him pretty rich, as he was ranked by Forbes in 2018 as the 190th richest man in the world, due to a net worth of $8 billion. Forbes also ranked him 12th on the list of the most powerful people in the world in 2009, because he dominated Italian politics for over 20 years at the top of the center-right coalition. It is safe to say that Silvio Berlusconi has acquired a lot in his life, but the question of how he reached that point comes into play. To answer that, we have to look at his early life and his rise to glory. Silvio Berlusconi was born in 1936 in Milan, Italy, but he didn't grow up rich, as he was born into a middle-class family. His father, Luigi Berlusconi, worked as a bank employee, while his mother, Rosa, was a housewife. He is the firstborn of 3 children, having a brother named Paolo and a late sister named Maria Francesca Antonietta. At the end of his secondary school education at a Salesian college, Silvio studied law at the University of Milan, finishing summa cum laude in 1961. Unlike most men at the time, he wasn't obligated to serve the usual 1-year stint in the Italian army. During his university days, he dabbled in music and was an upright bass player in a music group formed with amateur pianist and the now Mediaset chairman Fedele Confalonieri, and often performed as a cruise ship crooner. Later, he used his musical skills to write AC Milan's Anthem, along with the Italian pop singer and music producer Tony Ranise, and Forza Italian's Anthem, along with the opera director Renato Cirio. He also wrote 2 Neapolitan song albums, Meglio una canzone in 2003 and L'ultimo amore in 2006, with the Neapolitan singer Mariano Apicella. His love for music was something, and there was no doubt that he had the skill for it. However, he didn't pursue it as a career choice. When it came to his love life, you could see signs of his playboy nature since his early days. He married Carla Elvira Dalloglio in 1965 and had 2 kids with her. However, while still married to her, Silvio started a relationship with the actress Veronica Lario, and they subsequently had 3 kids together. He divorced his wife Carla in 1985 and married Veronica Lario in 1990. By this time, he was already a popular entrepreneur, so his wedding to the actress became a notable social event, to a point where he had the former prime minister and leader of the Italian Socialist Party, Bettino Craxi, as one of his best men. However, that marriage could only last so long, and it was reported that Veronica Lario filed for a divorce in 2009, which was a huge payday for her. The court ordered Silvio on December 28th of 2012 to pay his ex-wife Veronica Lario $48 million a year in what might be called one of the most expensive divorce settlements of the decade. This settlement was filed on Christmas Day, and he managed to keep the $100 million house that they lived in together with their 3 children. Some would think that his playboy lifestyle began from here, which would make sense because he didn't have any other marriages after that. Silvio Berlusconi's business career started in construction when he built Milano 2, a development of 4,000 residential apartments east of Milan, in the late 1960s. Milano 2 was a residential center in the Italian town of Degenerate, which was originally constructed as a new town by Degenerate, a Silvio Berlusconi-owned company related to the Fininvest Group. One of the primary peculiarities of Milano 2 is that it is a system of walkways and bridges that links the entire neighborhood, making it possible to walk around the entire residential area without ever intersecting traffic. The construction began in 1970 and finished in 1979 with the distinctive landmarks like a small artificial lake, a children's playground, and sporting facilities. This was a very profitable business venture, and the profits gotten from it served as the seed money he needed to establish his advertising agency. He initially entered the media world in 1973 by creating Telemilano, a small cable TV company established to service unit blocks on the Segrate properties. The company started transmitting in September of 1974, becoming the first Italian private television channel, which later advanced into Canale 5, the first national private TV station. By 1978, Silvio established his first media group, Fininvest, and in the 5 years leading up to 1983, he had earned around $69 million. He created the foremost and only Italian commercial television empire and was aided by his connections to Bettino Craxi, Secretary General of Italian Socialist Party, and the Prime Minister of Italy at that time. Bettino's government passed an emergency decree on October 20th of 1984, which legalized the nationwide transmissions made by Silvio's television stations. His rapid rise to the forefront of Italian politics began in January of 1994, when he was first elected to the Chamber of Deputies and later appointed as Prime Minister after the 1994 Italian general election. His cabinet lasted about 9 months and collapsed because of internal disagreements between the coalition parties. In the 2001 Italian general election, he was selected as the center-right candidate for prime minister and won the election, forming his second and third cabinets until 2006. He was re-elected to the 2008 Italian general election and had to resign on November 16th of 2011 after losing his majority in parliament with the growing fiscal problems associated with the European debt crisis. Even with the troublesome political terrain that Silvio Berlusconi had to navigate, he still did quite well for himself, or so you would think. He was a controversial figure in Italian politics, and his time as prime minister was filled with scandalous sex affairs and all-around terrible judgment and decision-making. His political business careers were riddled with various controversies, considering he entered politics to save companies from bankruptcy and himself from convictions. However, what was more scandalous was his extracurricular activities. In December 2007, the wiretap of a phone call between Silvio, the then leader of opposition parties, and Agostino Sacca, the general director of RAI, was published by the magazine L'Espresso, causing a scandal. The wiretap was due to an investigation by the Public Prosecutor Office of Naples, where he was investigated for corruption. In this phone call, he asks Agostino Sacca to create a job in RAI for a young woman, clearly stating that this woman would be an asset in a secret exchange with a senator of the majority would assist him with bringing Prodi and his administration to their end. He was later accused by some journalists and other politicians of political corruption with the exploitation of prostitution, and even his ex-wife Veronica Lario once expressed her anger at the association with young, attractive females. She filed for divorce after Silvio attended a girl's 18th birthday party in Casoria, Naples, despite not attending his own son's 18th birthday parties. The girl in question revealed that she calls Silvio papi, meaning daddy, and they frequently spent time together. She also mentioned that Silvio would sort out her career as a showgirl or politician, depending on her choice. Other young women also described the parties held in this Rome residence, while pictures and transcripts of audio cassettes circulated widely in the press. However, the most popular one was a teenage Moroccan belly dancer, an alleged girl called Karima El Maroug, mostly known as Ruby Rubakuri, who claimed to have received $10,000 from Silvio for events at his private villas. These resembled blowouts, with Silvio and 20 young women performing an African-style ritual called the Bunga Bunga with no clothes. She was arrested many times by the police on suspicion of theft and burglary, but was allegedly released each time after the police received a phone call from Silvio's office. On June 24th of 2013, Silvio Berlusconi was convicted of paying for sex with Karima El Maroug, a minor at the time, and sentenced to 7 years in prison. However, this sentence won't start until the appeal process is resolved. Silvio Berlusconi was quite the Playboy degenerate, not just because he used prostitution to get his way and bring his enemies to their end, but also because he had sexual relations with several young women, some of whom have proof of their relations with him. This lifestyle has managed to ruin his marriage, and it might just ruin his career if he isn't careful. Which brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching.